Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. The Sixers lose to Minnesota, and let's be honest, when they're shorthanded, Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, P.J. Tucker at the end of the first half is over. You don't know if he's going to come back. Matisse Thybulle is limited with an ankle injury. Not that I'm the biggest fan in the world, but I think there's some importance with the lack of bodies that they have right now that you have to acknowledge it. But they gave a lot of effort. I'm not a big, hey, at least you can hold your hat on to something here and we'll take some pride into the locker room. But come on, I mean, they were down big on a second half of a back-to-back. It didn't look like their night, and they almost won. I can't believe they missed that layup. When Melton hit the three, I'm like, yup, they're going to do this, all right? They get Paul Reed before the half with the craziness on the fast break going coast to coast. I don't know how he finishes. Shake Milton had a tough finish at the glass. He had a good day at the office, but it's like, in what world are they even in that position to do that? It makes no sense. So I am going to give them a round of applause for their efforts. And, you know, I said at the end of the last show that I feel like they're turning the page and grabbing some momentum in the right direction, and then they start off with a big fat L. But even with the lack of bodies being there for you, I still see some teams in the future here. The Hornets are 4-13, the Magic are 5-11, and you see them twice, both in Orlando, but still like beatable teams. I'm not telling you this squad with the lack of ball handlers and all, it's going to play beautiful basketball, because you even saw through the back end of the game trying to get Joel the ball, there was some turnovers. When Shake Milton left for Matisse Thybulle, it didn't look very well. Their offense is not clicking, okay, with this, but I just thought that there were some opportunities in the next couple of games in like a 5-game stretch, but I digress. I mean, honestly, I can't believe Embiid stayed in the basketball game when he rolled his ankle on Niang, who's on the floor, and he was grabbing. I mean, that looked like a bad one, right? That didn't look like one that he just walk off and continue to play. Not only continue to play, but he dives on the ground for a loose ball, and he's just giving everything he's got. It was nuts. I didn't know what I was watching. He probably won some possessions back in the first half when he was turning the ball over too much. But this team rallied together. They didn't die. They didn't quit. And they left it all out there on the court. That's all I can ask for. Look at the starting lineup. And not only that, I'm going to bring this up again, but P.J. Tucker giving you 0 points, 1 field goal attempt. And what did he play, 32 minutes or so? 33 minutes. You were in the dogfight without a starter giving you a point and only taking 1 shot? The defense picked up, which was nice. Went to a zone, looked different, caused Minnesota some trouble. And when they needed to go to the line to get some points, they went to the line. They just found a way to grind. And the game really could have spiraled out of control. With 4 minutes left in the first half, the score was 59-41, and Gobert had a putback. Karl-Anthony Towns had a 3. And it just felt like one of those moments where Minnesota could just say, hey, screw you. You're not even going to be in this one. We're going to blow you out of your own building. Your home barn is going to shut up. You're going to lose by 20 plus and get ready for the next one. But instead, it was always around 12 points. It was always in that range. Then it sneaks into double digits. Melton knocked down 5 threes. Finished with 19 points, had 6 assists as well. There's probably going to be some nightmares with a layup. You're not going to run away from that one. I really thought it was going to happen as soon as I saw them transition up the floor. Even though there was some bodies there, you thought there was just enough of a step to put it off the glass. Was I in love with the play design late for George Niang? No. I wasn't a fan on their last shot. But once again, Similar to after last night's game against Milwaukee, I saw people bitching about Doc Rivers and the lineup. I can't believe he's got this guy out there with that guy, and he's got no options. Well, with the last play, with everything this team gave us tonight, I get it. You could separate a play call to the team. At the same time, though, just not for me. I pick and choose my spots. I don't know if tonight all the players putting all the work in to beat Milwaukee, following that up. And my takeaway is Doc Rivers drew up a play for Niang where he had to have a contested three and now all of a sudden be outraged. I'm not there. Sorry. If you have the Doc Rivers blinkers on and that's just what you want to focus on each night, I've been through this many times. I know who Doc Rivers is. There should be nobody really dissecting Doc to figure out Doc. We know Doc. I'm more praising the way they stayed through the Shake 27. And Shake had a weird one against Milwaukee. Air ball. Looked lost. But then didn't. Then looked fresh. Looked like a completely different player. Defensively, different story. But you got to put the ball in somebody's hands here. It's dreadful, no doubt. There's possessions that make you cry. There's possessions where the offense has zippo. That's why I'm still shocked that in an offense that really isn't much other than Joel, please do something for us and bail us out. There was a time in this game where the percentage of awful shots and awful offensive production was happening, but somehow they were scoring some points. It's like, all right, well, that's not sustainable. But even with that, a man who made his living by hanging out in the corner, still, I'm just stunned that by accident, by surprise. And can we look at it this way too? No James, no Maxey, no Tobias. And I hope we get some update on Tobias Harris soon. I saw some people who cover the team tweet out the last few days it was listed as questionable, which would then in theory mean that maybe it's possible that we'll be linked up with active in the upcoming days. But here's a huge part to this. But you played in the NBA a long, long time, PJ Tucker. All of your scoring options aren't there. How is it still 0 points? And I'm sorry if this bothers you or if people think that I'm stressing this too much because we know the player that he is. And at times you should point out the defense. Defense on Giannis. The defense on some players during these last few wins. But both can be true. When all of your options are off and hurt, how? Unless there's a correlation with why he missed some time to start the second half. But it didn't seem like Doc really knew anything. That doesn't mean nothing happened, but PJ Tucker clearly returned to the game. It's just so bizarre to me. So bizarre. And they play who? Brooklyn on Tuesday? That's going to be fun to see what Benjamin Simmons is all about. I think I saw someone say Ben had a good game, had one of his best games recently. How about that? 15 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists in 32 minutes of play. Before that, 5 of 7 from the field, 11 points in 20 minutes of play. Is that enough Ben Simmons talk? Should I already apologize for going there? Because there's no real reason why I would ever go there? Okay. Daniel House hit 3 threes in his 39 minutes of play with 11 points. I just watch guys bust their ass out there. Just fight, leave it all out there, and then whatever happens, happens. I just knew that it was so easy to roll over and die when you know how fatigued you are from playing a game on Friday night. And a tough game, too. And by the way, with that whole Giannis thing, I was recording during when it was going active on Twitter, so I didn't see it until the show was over. What a clown. What an absolute clown. Harrell stepping in there. I got no issue with what he did. I got an issue with Giannis did to the poor people just trying to do their job. I'm saying the poor people, like the people who are out there working, not in regards to that person being actually poor financially, the poor guy. Just want to make that clear. But come on, Giannis, you fraud. Anyway, what the hell's going on with me? I had late caffeine. Here I am going Ben Simmons, calling Giannis a fraud. Just bear with me, all right? Getting a little sweaty down here in the office, in the studio. I had all sorts of heater issues. I don't know. Text messages on the Anytime hotline. Jackson weighs in. I can't be too upset tonight. Amazing way to stay in the game. Probably exhausted from the Milwaukee Bucks too. We need to get healthy, bros. We need to get healthy. I agree. I'm watching Joel with just amazement, and he's must-watch television for me. So, Joel Embiid alone, it doesn't make sense that he's able to do the things that he does. Rudy Gobert wants nothing to do with him. I wouldn't either. That guy's a joke. But Joel all over the court. I can't get over him diving for loose balls after tweaking the ankle. But yeah, they need to get healthy. Joel still must watch. And I still think that they can win games. But you know what? I also think that there's been, and I touched on this when he had the 59 points. There's just something to be said about, well, it's an L, and you're 8-8, and nobody thought after 16 games they would have a 500 record. But sometimes it's about the eye test, and it's about the feel. And there were many games to start this season where it felt like everyone was trying to do their own thing. And it felt like guys were lost. These aren't the most important players, so I'm sure there's something to be said about someone who lacks minutes just wanting to prove their worth in all the extended minutes. My point in bringing that up is you still have to incorporate all of the injured guys back in here, and when they were in was the last time that it felt sour. I think it's important, though, for the energy to be positive. Regardless of who's on the court. When James Harden returns, if it's after games like this, there's more value in it for me. And I think most importantly, there's more value in it for the guys in the room compared to if it's after 3-game losing streak, too many turnovers, getting beaten on the glass insanely, losing at home when you're close to a double-digit favorite. Let's say you should beat a team by 9.5, 10 points. They come into your building, whoop your ass, the fans boo. I don't think that's the same than if Tobias returns in the next couple of games after the battle. At the same time, though, I know they weren't close at the time Harden got hurt to figuring out Harden ball with Maxey ball with Embiid ball. And Tobias is always the last shoe to drop. Maybe that's different this year because PJ Tucker is, or he just never figures it out. And I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year we're still talking about how he doesn't shoot the basketball. What's up with this town with guys for wide open looks that just sometimes don't want to take it or not looking for it after having a track record of doing it? I don't get it. They need time, though. So I'm with you, Jackson. I'm with you. It seems like at this point, I'm just asking for effort. And I wanted to get back to asking for effort, wins, and poetry. Because basketball, to me, has always been about the ball movement and the poetry. Getting maxi speed available for you while slowing it down with post play on the block. Or with some Harden separation. Playing some iso ball, creating his own separation, that is. I believe we'll get there. I believed it from the jump. I just stressed that you need minutes played. You need to actually compete. You have to go through the miscues, go through the mistakes, go through the learning curves, go through the turnovers to figure out what works and doesn't work. So that's sort of my longer term view of this all. The short term is go ball. Go ball. Leave it out there, and we'll see what the result is. Another text message from Todd taking some shots at me. You thought they'd start rolling, now what? A loss instantly after the last show. All right, Todd. Yeah, you're right. They did lose. I was feeling myself a bit after Milwaukee. But let's see. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm not going to rule that out. Maybe I'm crazy to think even this way, and I don't know where Tobias will be at that point, but even this way, they could beat Orlando. They can beat a 4-win Charlotte team. I don't know about Brooklyn. Time will tell. I think they can. They cleaned up some of their beginning and some of their first half issues. Maybe they actually steal this. Hell, they should have still won. Or there was still time left on the clock. But taking a lead that late and stealing one, that was a high percentage. I wonder what, you know how the ESPN app sometimes gives you the win probability? After the third quarter, the Eagles had a 92% chance of winning, something along those lines. I wonder what it was for the Sixers the second they were on that fast break with nobody in front of them. Down a point. They still could have drew up a play, hit the dagger, cold-blooded celebration. But who knows? Sixers are playing way better at that point in the game. Could have been their night, but it wasn't. All right, so, yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we're at. We're 8-8. I'm starting to get back into the basketball mojo. I think the team is too, which is helping out. Guys look more comfortable. Guys seem like they're in more shape. Guys seem like they're finding themselves a tad more just around the league, really. Even when I tune into some non-Sixers related hoops. Depending on what team it is, of course. But normally you get the good stuff on TNT, on ESPN. Some solid squats. Which is making it a little bit more entertaining. But it also helps when the big fella is, well, being the big fella. All right, another short one. It's the weekend. It is what it is. Thank you guys so much. I love you. You're the greatest. I'll see you guys on the next one.